Morning. Welcome to the Office of Tax Appeals. We're opening the record in the appeal of Massoud. OTA case number is 240716836. This matter is being held before the Office of Tax Appeals. Today's date is August 20th, 2026, and the time is approximately 9 a.m. This hearing is being convened virtually. As a reminder, this hearing is being recorded and streamed. So anything that you say or show on the screen can be watched on the internet. Today's hearing is being held by a three-member panel. My name is Keith Long, and I will be the lead administrative law judge. Judge Mike Lee and Judge Stephen Kim are the other members of this tax appeals panel. Judge Lee is taking the place of Judge Shireen Reidenauer on this panel. Are there any objections to this substitution?
No.
No objection, Your Honor.
Thank you.
None from the department.
Thank you. All three panel members will meet after the hearing and produce a written decision as equal participants. Although the lead judge will conduct the hearing, any judge on this panel may ask questions or otherwise participate to ensure that we have all the information needed to decide this appeal. This hearing is being recorded and transcribed electronically. To ensure we have an accurate record, we ask that each person speaks one at a time and avoids speaking over one another. Additionally, when you are speaking, please speak clearly and loudly. When you are not speaking, I ask that you mute your microphones to avoid sound interference and other feedback. When needed, I or any panel member will interject to ensure proper transcription. After the hearing, OTA will produce an electronic transcript upon request. As a reminder, the Office of Tax Appeals is not a tax court. It is an independent appeals body. The panel does not engage in ex parte communications with either party. OTA will issue an opinion based on the party's arguments, the admitted evidence, and the relevant law. For the record, will the parties please state their name and who they represent, starting with the representatives for CDTFA.
This is Amanda Jacobs. I'm an attorney with the legal department at CDTFA.
Chad Backus, attorney with CDTFA.
Jason Parker, Chief of Headquarters Operations Bureau with CDTFA.
Thank you. And for the appellant?
Jonathan Zandi, CPA. I'm representing Monica Massoud, the appellant.
Thank you. And Ms. Massoud, can you please just state your name for the record as well?
Yes, Monica Massoud.
Thank you. I am being informed that we lost one of our witnesses from the stream.
Yes.
What I will do is I'm going to continue through the issues to be heard this morning. And if they haven't come back, we'll go off of the record so that Mr. Zandi, you can contact them and see if they're going to be able to come back, okay?
Of course.
All right. The issues in this appeal are whether appellants may be held personally liable under RNTC Section 6829 for the unpaid liabilities of Shah Abbas Corporation. Mr. Zandi, did I get that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you. And CDTFA, is that your understanding of the issues as well?
Correct.
Thank you. Okay. Well, our witness has not yet returned. So what I'm going to do is go off the record for 5 minutes for Mr. Zandi to have the opportunity to contact them and see if they'll be coming back online. The live stream does not stop, so please mute your microphones and turn off your cameras, and we will see you at 9:26, okay? We are reopening the record. Mr. Zandi, was your witness able to, will they be rejoining us?
Your Honor, I believe not, but we can proceed.
Okay, thank you. All right. Then moving forward, we have the current witness list consists of Ms. Massoud, Mr. Zandi, Bahare Zargar, and Siavash Blorian. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce that name. I'm not sure if I pronounced anyone's name correctly. I apologize. But if I did get it wrong, please let me know. I want to have it correct. Is that the correct witness list?
Yes. Yes, Your
Thank
Honor.
you. Okay, then we will swear in all of the witnesses right now. So if you could please all raise your right hands.
Your Honor, I may also be a witness. I'm not sure if,
Yes.
yeah, so
Okay. So everyone, please raise your right hands. And do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
yes, I do.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. Then we will get to that testimony shortly. Moving forward with exhibits, at the pre-hearing conference, CDTFA provided exhibits A through O, CDTFA exhibits A through O and appellant exhibits 1 through 6 were discussed, and they are admitted without objection. A hearing binder was previously distributed to the parties. Did the parties have the opportunity to review the exhibit binder?
Yes.
Yes. Ms. Jacobs? Okay, was everything in order? Okay,
Yes, thank you.
thank you. Mr. Zandi, everything looked good on your side?
Yes.
Okay. All right. This morning's hearing is intended to take approximately 120 minutes. Appellant requested 60 minutes for opening presentation and witness testimony, and you may begin when ready.
Thank you, Your Honor, and may it please the panel. The core of this case, in regards to Shah Abbas Corporation and Monica Massoud, is whether if Monica Massoud could independently decide to use Shah Abbas's funds to pay the CDTFA, or did she have to obtain Frank Javanshir's approval before making that payment? One of the core arguments in our case here is that Frank Javanshir, who was listed in all corporate titles as the owner of this company, as the CFO, as the sole secretary, that he was the true owner and the only owner of this restaurant, and he only had the authority to make payments. He had to delegate and give permission to anyone else if they were to make payments. The controlling regulation in this case, Title 18 California Code of Regulations, Section 1702.5, Subdivision B to Cap B. The responsible person have the authority to pay the taxes or to cause them to be paid. On the date that the taxes came due and when the responsible person had actual knowledge as defined in A. A responsible person who was required to obtain approval from another person prior to paying the taxes at issue and was unable to act on his or her own in making the decision to pay the taxes does not have the authority to pay the taxes or to cause them to be paid. The last sentence of this regulation is the center of this case. Monica Massoud did not have any authority to make any payments without the permission of Frank Javanshir, who is the actual owner and listed with every corporate title in this company. So the regulation expressly distinguishes the ability to carry out a payment and the authority to decide that the payment will be made. A core question for the CDTFA is, where is the CDTFA's evidence that Monica could have said without asking Frank Javanshir, I'm paying California $20,000 today, instead of paying vendors, rent, entertainers, or payroll? And that is the authority that the regulation requires. Moving on to responsible person. Title alone is expressly insufficient. The department's brief repeatedly cites job titles to claim that the appellant had the authority to remit tax payments. California Code of Regulations, Section 1702.5, Subdivision B1. Responsible person. The As used herein, the term responsible person means any officer, member, manager, employee, director, shareholder, partner, or other person having control or supervision of, or who is charged with the responsibility for the filing of returns or the payment of tax, or who has a duty to act for the corporation, partnership, limited liability partnership, or limited liability company in complying with any provision of the sales and use tax law. The fact that a person possesses any of the aforementioned titles in and of itself is not sufficient to establish that the person is a responsible person. So even assuming for the sake of argument that Monica had some corporate title, the department's own regulation expressly says possession of the title standing alone is not enough. However, in the department's brief, they say that Monica Massoud is listed as a officer. Unfortunately, that's not true. Question for the panel: may we reference exhibits right now, or is that to come later? Is this
Yes, you can reference your exhibits throughout your presentation.
okay? So referencing exhibit 1 from the appellant's exhibits, I can just give a moment for everybody to pull that up. So if we look at Exhibit 1's statement of information, Farshad Javanshir, Farshad is the alias for Frank, he is listed as Chief Executive Officer, Secretary, Chief Financial Officer. He's additionally listed as on line 9. On line 9, he's listed again as an officer. And this is signed by Farshad Javanshir. Going to the second page of Exhibit 1, we have a no change statement, which signifies that there's been no changes to the statement of information that was previously filed, which showed Farshad Javanshir listed as the sole officer holding multiple roles. And in this case, it seems like we have a Monica Massoud's name signing the statement with the title SEC, which is not clear what that is. You may say that that's the secretary, but however, page 1 of this exhibit showed Farshad Javanshir as the secretary, and this page 2 shows that there's been no changes. So we don't even have any clear evidence of a corporate title for Monica Massoud. However, even if we did, the department's own regulation says that the possession of the title standing alone is not enough. Moving on, I'd just like to clarify this quickly. Farshad Javanshir may be also interchangeably referred to as Frank Javanshir. I don't believe there's any contention about this. We have Exhibit 2, which lists a person's report that we pulled that shows information about Farshad Frank Javanshir, and this confirms with the last with his date of birth, last four of his social, Farshad Frank Javanshir. So sometimes he may be referred to as Frank, sometimes he may be referred to as Farshad, but that is the same person. That is the owner of Shah Abbas Corporation, or was the owner before they closed down and started a new company. Another point that the department brings up is assigning checks. The CDTFA emphasizes that hundreds of checks were signed by Monica. But we asked then, well, what do these checks prove? They established that Monica had the mechanical ability to sign a check. However, that standing alone does not establish who selects the creditor, who decides the amount, who determined whether there was sufficient money available to pay, who determined which creditors received priority, who decided whether taxes would be paid, and whether Monica could make any of those decisions without Frank's authority, and whether Monica needed Frank's prior approval or not. The regulation does not ask whether Monica's signature could appear on a check. It asks whether she had authority to decide what taxes would be paid. we hold, and as the testimony will also show by Monica Massoud and the witnesses, that she did not have this authority. She had to get permission for any payments that were made. She did not have any shares in this company. She did not have any ownership. She had no corporate titles. She was, as her testimony will later show, which will show more details, she was just a manager at this restaurant who was following Frank's authority and following his control and listening to him on what to do, which especially includes whether or not something could be paid. Moving to the next point regarding the evidence. The CDTFA has several statements that are filed, several exhibits. From the statements that are there are multiple hearsay statements. We do understand that the Office of Tax Appeals can consider hearsay statements. However, none of these individuals whose alleged statements that the CDTFA relies on, none of them are appearing to testify today. None of these individuals are subject to cross-examination by the appellant or by their representative. Their purported historical statements, which we don't even know the accuracy of them, none of them were under oath. From our understanding, we don't know if the auditors recorded any of these statements or how they interpreted these statements. So there's a question about how these questions were phrased. What exactly were the witnesses asked? What was the context of the answers? What does the witness understand responsible to mean? If I called Monica and I said, hey, are you responsible for the restaurant if she's serving plates or managing waitresses or waiters? She could probably say yes. What was the question that was actually asked to these witnesses? One of the bookkeepers, a third-party bookkeeper, we called the bookkeeper ourselves. They didn't. We believe Jose Ordenez is a third-party bookkeeper that the CDTFA refers to in their written records. We called this person ourselves. They seem to not be able to even understand English. So I would be perplexed to even understand how they would understand what responsible party means, which is not the most complicated term if you just take it as a layman term. But when it's taken in a tax context, responsible party, as we just discussed in Regulation 1702.5, this is much more complicated than a layperson would understand. Much less now, or much more now for a person who seems to not be able to communicate on a basic level of English. The department may place these documents into the record, but the admissibility does not determine weight. Nothing has been produced by the CDTFA to testify to the fact that Monica Massoud was personally observed to be independently have the ability to decide which creditors would be paid, and that she did not need Frank Javanshir's approval. There is no evidence of that she was able to act without Frank Javanshir's approval. And we don't have the auditor here today from the CDTFA. We don't have the bookkeeper. We don't have the purported employees that the CDTFA relied on. We have multiple testimonies and statements. Well, not testimonies, but we have multiple statements that are hearsay statements, purportedly not made under oath, that the CDTFA has in their records, but none of these people appear to be here today, and we don't see what the reason for that would be. So I'd like to just talk about unsworn party assertions. California Code of Regulations. This is a Office of the Tax Appeals regulation. Section 30214, subdivision F, 5. After weighing the evidence, the panel may make any necessary factual findings in any opinion issued by OTA. A factual finding on any material disputed facts shall not be based solely on unsworn statements made by a party during the appeal proceeding before OTA. Such a statement such as statements contained in a party's brief or arguments made by an unsworn representative during an OTA oral hearing. So, to the extent that the CDTFA asked this panel to bridge gaps in its documentary evidence, Regulation 30214, subsection F, subsection 5, expressly prevents a material disputed factual finding from being based solely upon these unsworn party statements. Just give me a moment, please. So we again assert that there's nothing in the CDTFA record to show or prove that Monica Massoud had the independent authority to make payments without Frank Javanshire's approval. CDTFA relies on descriptions in some of their exhibits, writing that Monica was quote unquote responsible. Monica, quote unquote, managed the restaurant. Monica, quote unquote, helped run the restaurant. Monica dealt with taxes. Monica signed checks. But responsible for what? Managed what? Had authority to do what? A person can be responsible for employees, scheduling, customer complaints, entertainment, communicating with accountants, communicating with the CDTFA, without actually having the authority to decide what creditors would receive corporate funds or being able to remit those funds. So nobody whose statement that the CDTFA relies upon was apparently asked the decisive question: could Monica Massoud independently pay CDTFA without first receiving Frank Javanshire's approval? And this is the question that Regulation 1702.5, subsection B, subsection 2, cap B makes material. We'd like to also briefly mention a successor entity. So this was a restaurant in Los Angeles and bordering Beverly Hills, West Hollywood, if anyone's familiar with the area, that it was a Persian restaurant. And apparently in the same exact location, and we have exhibits and a witness testimony can further support that fact. The same exact location in that building, the same exact location where the Shah Abbas restaurant was, there was Frank Javanshire was there when Shah Abbas was apparently closed, and they just reopened under the name Chel Satoon. The a successor entity by itself doesn't really contend as a contravening evidence about a responsible party, but it does further support the fact that Monica Massoud had no control over the operations of this restaurant. Monica Massoud claims that she had not been paid for several months. She even though could sign a check, she didn't have the ability to pay herself. She was working in this place for free, a company that she had no shares, no ownership in, no ability to make any decision. So when Chel Satoon was closed, or I'm sorry, when Shah Abbas was closed, in that same exact location, there was a new restaurant called Chel Satoon. And I'd like to just bring our attention to Exhibit 4. So Exhibit 4 is several screenshots from social media from various parties that show one of them, February 29, 2020, a performing artist writes, at Shah Abbas, post-Valentine's Day performance at my favorite Persian restaurant. Thank you, Frank, for having me there on Saturdays. The place is called Chel Satoon now, by the way. We don't see if Monica had any percentage ownership or any control over this entity, then the question is where is she? The testimony and the evidence will show she had no involvement, no power over this company. Even though she wasn't paid for several months, they simply just closed, reopened the door. Even when the CDTFA throughout our initial appeal process, they would have had the power and ability to conduct a re-audit because it was our position that there were several gaping holes in their argument, several things that were just not matching up. So they could have had the opportunity to conduct a re-audit, to re-interview these people. During this time that we were appealing, Chelsea Toon was there. They could have walked into Chelsea Toon. They could have talked to Frank. They could have seen what's going on. They could have found out with all the powers and abilities they have, and found out and confirmed for themselves that Monica Massoud did not have the independent authority to make payments, and that it was actually always Frank Javanshir that was the sole owner and had control over this enterprise. Just referencing the same Exhibit 4, the subsequent screenshots, there's various screenshots that are still page 3 of 4. One of these performers says, "Live and DJ music. Hope to see you all this Thursday 30th and Friday 31st at Chelsea Toon." In parentheses, he writes Shah Abbas. So if Monica had any power over the finances of this company, how do they open up a new entity and she was not still paid for several months? She was left without being paid. Next page of this exhibit as well, same thing. Shah Abbas, quote unquote, Chelsea Toon. So we understand, yes, a successor entity by itself doesn't really talk about responsible party, but we bring this as supporting evidence to show that there was no control from Monica Massoud. She didn't have the ability to renegotiate this lease, to reopen, maybe to get back some of the money that she was owed. She had no power over the finances of this company. She had no power over the ownership of this company. This was all Frank Javanshir. And even multiple performers and various comments on social media confirm this as well. And our witness testimony, I believe, will confirm this as well. Multiple former employees will confirm the lack of authority. We noted this in our reply brief. And this is supported by the declaration as well that we filed from myself as the representative. We did interview multiple persons. Unlike the CDTFA's brief, we have these people here today to testify under oath. Not all of them, but at least 2 of them. But our interviews of all these people led to the same thing, that Monica Massoud did not have the authority to make payments. She had to ask Frank Javanshir for permission. So we'd like to conclude by just, re-emphasizing this regulation 1702.5, that if a responsible person was required to obtain approval from another person, that does not mean that they have the authority to pay the taxes, that they cannot be held as a responsible party. The CDTFA's evidentiary failures and the arbitrary use of the word responsible is an attempt to shift this liability to a person who was just following orders from her boss, doing her job for some months unpaid, and doing the best she could do to just make a living and follow the instructions of a person who was actually the one who was the only person perhaps responsible for paying these taxes. So we'd like to conclude our opening statement. We believe that the CDTFA has not met its burden of proof under Revenue and Taxation Code 6829. Monica Massoud lacked the authority to remit taxes. She did not act willfully, and she had no independent financial discretion within the meaning of California Code of Regulations 1702.5. The department's case relies on ambiguous job titles, uncontextualized hearsay references to the word responsibility, and check signing activity that was performed only under the direction of the business's true operator, Frank Javanshire. It presents no direct evidence that the appellant had discretionary control or financial authority. By contrast, the appellant has a declaration and testimony now from multiple former employees and herself that will confirm that she had to get the approval of Mr. Javanshire, Mr. Frank Javanshire, to issue payments, and that she lacked any role in tax compliance decisions. As we stated earlier, the department failed to investigate or re-audit despite receiving evidence of a successor entity operating under nearly identical conditions and ownership. Having access to Frank Javanshire, these resources could have been spent on the department getting these true answers instead of having Monica Massoud fighting now just to clear her name for something that she was not responsible for. So for these reasons, we're requesting that this panel respectfully grant this appeal in full and find that Monica Massoud was not a responsible party under Revenue and Taxation Code 6829. We'd like to conclude our opening statement there.
Thank you. And you may continue on with your witness testimony.
Okay. May I just have a brief moment?
Yes. Do you need to go off of the record? Do you need to go off of camera?
Just off of camera for 1 minute.
Okay. Then we're going to close the record temporarily and we'll go off camera for till 10:05. Are we ready to resume?
Yes, we are, Your Honor.
Okay. We just wait for everyone to come back online. It looks like, did we lose Miss Massoud?
Just
Right.
her audio.
Ms. Massoud, it appears that oh,
Monica,
can you hear me,
me?
Ms. Massoud? Oh, Ms. Massoud, if you can hear me, there's a Zoom settings issue. It seems you need to choose your speaker option to allow Zoom access. If you'd like, someone from OTA can call and can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, then never mind, we're all set. Okay. Mr. Zandi, you may proceed.
All right, I would like to call Monica Massoud to testify, please.
Oh, sorry. We're going back on the record.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor. I would like to call Monica Massoud to testify.
Okay.
May I begin, Your Honor? With the questions.
Yes.
Monica, can you state your name again for the record?
Yes, Monica Massoud.
Okay. And what did you actually do at Shah Abbas?
I was a manager.
Did you own any shares at Shah Abbas?
No,
Did you ever receive, outside of your salaries, did you ever receive any extra distributions?
no.
Who controlled this business financially?
Frank Javanshire.
And what was Frank's role?
Controlling everything and money and everything. Basically, the whole restaurant, whatever I did, I reported to him, or whatever he wanted me to do, he used to tell me to do it.
Okay. Regarding how payments worked for Shah Abbas, when a bill arrived, what happened?
It was on the register, on the computer, and then on the every night on the worksheet would write down how much was the cash, how much was the credit, and then he used to come and pick them up.
And who decided whether that bill would be paid?
Him.
Who decided when it would be paid?
Him.
Sorry, when you say him, can you clarify?
Yes, Frank Javanshi.
Okay. And who decided how much would be paid?
Frank.
After Frank made that decision, what would you do?
I couldn't do anything. I had to wait for him to tell me what to do.
Okay. And you would physically prepare and sign the check?
Sometimes, yes.
Could you decide to pay something without Frank's authorization?
Never.
And what happened if Frank did not approve an expense?
It wouldn't get paid. He would deal with it. It was not my problem.
Could you override him?
Never.
Could you decide to send additional money to a vendor?
No.
Could you decide yourself to pay the CDTFA?
No, I didn't even know what's going on.
Could you choose to pay the CDTFA instead of rent, payroll, or vendors?
No.
Regarding your compensation, were there periods in which Shah Abbas did not pay you?
Yes.
Okay, and
For
were
at
there
least 4 or 5 months.
okay, so there were wages owed to you for work that you performed there?
Yes.
Okay, and
Yes.
these wages owed to you was for the time that you spent working there, is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Okay. If you had unrestricted control over company funds and hundreds of signed checks, which would demonstrate that control, why didn't you simply write a check to yourself for the money that you were owed?
As I told you, Frank Javanshi was very strict about the money and financial. And if I wouldn't do it, he would probably, I don't know what would have happened, but he never allowed anything. And I was always a good listener. I always follow. I needed my job. I didn't have any choice. I didn't want to argue over something that was not my business. So whatever he said, basically I did and done. And in the end, didn't get paid all as well.
So it seems like, Monica, there's hundreds of signed checks, some for amounts as low as $100. Even those checks would require Frank's approval?
Everything, even little amount of money, $10, $50, everything.
How would
Always
you
have to ask him.
how would you obtain Frank's approval?
Most of the time calling him and texting him or email him. Anyhow I could get a hold of him, or I would. He usually was checking the restaurant from camera also, and he used to call every couple of hours to check how's everything or who's that guy or what this guy doing. Anyhow, even though when he was not there, he was controlling from home.
Okay, and what would happen if you didn't listen to Frank?
Probably would have fired me. I didn't try.
Okay. We have no further questions for this witness.
Thank you. Before we move to the next witness, does CDTFA have any questions for Ms. Massoud?
No questions. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to check with my co-panelists. Judge Kim, do you have any questions for Ms. Massoud?
Not at this time. I'm gonna wait for everyone's testimony.
Thank you. Judge Lee, do you have any questions for Ms. Massoud at this time?
Also not this time. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm going to reserve my questions for the end as well. Mr. Zandi, you may call your next witness.
Yes, I'd like to call Mr. Balorian, please.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Your Honor.
We just lost your video for a second. We can
Oh,
hear you, but your video is gone.
1 second. Let's see.
Now you're back.
You have my voice?
Yes.
Okay. Good
Thank you.
morning, everyone.
Good morning. Mr. Balorian, can you state your name for the record?
Siavash Bolorian.
And what was your role at the Shah Abbas Corporation at the restaurant?
I was manager as well.
Okay. Do you recall which years you worked there?
I was on and off 2008, 2009. I was there also 2011, and until they this guy, excuse my language, Frank Javanshire, was getting more and more involved inside the restaurant, and I decided to just move on.
Okay. What were your responsibilities at the restaurant?
Managing the restaurant, mostly with the back of the house and customers as well. All the orders to make the orders for the restaurant.
Were you familiar with any of the interactions between Monica Massoud and Frank Javanshire?
Pretty much.
Okay. Are you aware that Monica Massoud had to get permission from Frank Javanshire to make payments?
Oh yes, a lot of time. Actually, there was days that I was only present at the restaurant, and these vendors used to come with the past due invoices, and I said they have to. I have no right to do anything, but we have to ask Monica, and Monica asked Frank. He wouldn't give any permission to pay these vendors
Okay, and how did you know that Frank would not give the permission?
because I was present. There was times that me and Monica, we both were in the restaurant at the same time, and we used to call him together actually on speakerphone and ask, these guys are here, they want their money, and he wouldn't allow us. Or if he did, he would allow us to do like 20% of their bill or so.
Was Monica allowed to make any payments without Frank's permission?
Not at all.
And what is your understanding of what was Monica's role at the restaurant?
We both were manager at the restaurant, so we share the times in a week. And there was days that the restaurant it was a peak days, and we both were at the restaurant at the same time.
Okay. And do you ever recall Frank denying Monica the ability to make any payments to any vendors?
Yes.
Okay. And how would that denial look like? How would you learn about that denial?
Well, he used to stop by mostly on Saturdays when the restaurant is really busy, and we ask them, these bills are past due and we need to pay them, but he always denied. He always denied and said, right now I don't have money. We don't have
Okay.
any funds for these bills.
Okay. And sometimes he would give permission for some things?
Small things, very little small things. He let Monica to write the check for them.
Okay. You said sometimes these conversations happened on speakerphone,
Yeah.
and you would hear Frank giving his permission for payments?
I was standby near the phone, but on the only small amounts. Anything would pass, I would say, couple $100, $500. He would right away say no.
Okay. These discussions that would happen on speakerphone, the subject of payments would come up. Is that correct?
Yes, I was witness and standing by.
And you understood it that Monica was asking Frank for permission for these payments.
Yes, any type of payment she has to have. Ask Frank for the making a payment.
So last question, did Monica Massoud, based on your knowledge, have any ability to make any payments without Frank Javanshire's permission?
None.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor, for this witness.
Thank you. And does CDTFA have any questions for this witness?
We do have one question.
Okay, go ahead.
Could you please clarify at what point you were involved in the restaurant? The timing?
Yes, me and Monica, we used to share the week, make a schedule between us. And then on the peak days of the restaurant that was really, really crowded and busy, so we both being present at the restaurant, mostly on Saturday nights.
I'm sorry. I wanted you to clarify the years that you were working at the
I
restaurant.
worked there at 2008, 2009. Then I was also working at 2011 and beginning of 2012 as well.
Okay, so you weren't working at the restaurant in 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019?
At the Shoabas restaurant, no.
Correct. Okay, thank you. No further questions.
Thank you. And just checking in with my co-panelists. Judge Kim, do you have any questions?
No questions, thank you.
Thank you. Judge Lee, do you have any questions?
No questions, thank you.
Thank you. And I'll reserve any further questions for the end as well. Mr. Zandi, you may call your next witness.
Yes, I'd like to call, thank you, Mr. Balorian. I'd like to call Bahar Zargar, please.
Hi.
Hello,
Good morning.
Bahar. Good
Hello.
morning. Thank you for your time today. Can you state your name for the record, please?
Bahare Naqash Zargarian.
Thank you. And did you work at Shah Abbas Corporation?
Yes,
Do you-
I'm working
And-
2015 until 2019.
Thank you. And what was your role at the restaurant?
Manager,
Okay, and what would you do as manager at the restaurant?
I take all the reservation, anything that we need. I let her. I have to tell Monica, and she fix it with the Frank, because everybody will have to wait for the Frank the approval. We do everything.
Okay, and when you were working there, Monica Massoud was also there?
Yes.
Was Frank Javanshire also there?
No, no, he's not coming. He's coming sometimes.
Okay, but he would be present occasionally at sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. As far as were you aware of how vendor payments were handled?
Anything we need, we have to ask from Frank.
Okay. Did you ever see any of the communications between Monica Massoud and Frank Javanshire?
Yes.
Okay, and how did you see these communications? Were they by phone or were they in person?
I saw both of them had some more fun.
Okay. So when it was on phone, sometimes you would witness Monica Massoud was talking to Frank.
Yes.
And how would you learn about this? How would you know that she was talking to Frank?
Because I told her, you have to talk to the Frank. We need this, we need that. We have a party at night. We need the alcohol, anything that we need. We have to fix it with him. And he told us go to buy this, that, and that's why.
Okay. And so then when something had to be paid, did you see or witness Monica Massoud asking Frank?
Yes.
Did you ever see or witness Frank Javanshire declining to pay something?
Yes.
Did you know if Monica Massoud ever had the power to make payments without his permission?
No.
And how did you know that?
Because sometimes I need money or for by myself. I ask him and we asked Frank, and he said, not right now. You have to wait for until from day, or he ignores. That's why.
Did Monica Massoud ever tell you that she needs Frank's permission to make a payment?
Yes.
Was it your understanding that Monica Massoud needed permission from Frank Javanshire to make all payments?
Yes.
Thank you, Your Honor. No further questions.
Thank you. CDTFA, do you have any questions for this witness?
We do not. Thank you.
Thank you. I do have a question regarding the payments, Ms. Zargar.
Yes.
You witnessed Ms. Massoud asking for permission to make payments. It seemed like the questions were focused on payments to vendors specifically. Did you ever witness Ms. Massoud ask permission to pay tax liability and whether that was specifically denied by Mr. Javanshir?
As always, yes, all the year, end of the year, she fixed everything and she sent it to the Frank. Because I write it every night, everything for I gave it to Monica, and Monica, she sent it to the Frank for the end of the year.
Okay. And with respect to the quarterly sales tax payments, was that similar?
Anything we sell it, we write it and we send it to the Frank.
Okay. And Judge Kim, do you have any questions for the witness?
What did you send to Frank? Can you explain that a little bit more?
Okay. Every night we write it every selling or any we give it to someone buy something, we have to write it. Okay. And we write it for all the year. And end of the year, we fix everything and we send it to Frank for the taxes, for the everything. We all the how much we sell it all the year, how much we buy for the alcohol, how much we send it to the Frank for the taxes.
Do you know if the restaurant had an accountant that handled the sales and use tax
Yes,
report?
every night, because we're working and we close the register, right? We have to write it. We send it to Frank, and Frank they have to send it to the anyone's account.
And when would, well, okay, thank you. I guess I have a question for Miss Massoud, if that's okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So would the accountant, the restaurant's accountant, reach out to you regarding the payment of sales taxes?
No, I used to, as what she said, every night we used to write on the sales sheet and all the sales, credit card, paid out everything. And he used to come and pick it up, or we dropped it off to him. And from then back, it was his responsibility. I didn't have anything. My responsibility, it was just that, not more than that.
Okay, so if the accountant didn't tell you about the sales tax, then when did you have these conversations with Frank about how much tax to pay or when to pay the tax?
I used to receive the mails, and I used to give it to him, and he used to discuss it that, oh my God, this is too much, this is crazy, just a regular general talking. That's all. That's how I knew.
Okay. Other than these conversations, do you have any thing in writing where you're asking Frank for his authorization to pay sales
Not
taxes?
anymore, unfortunately, because I moved from LA and I didn't have, and it's 9, 10 years, and I don't have anything, to provide. I didn't think I would need to keep anything. So unfortunately, no, I don't have any.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Judge Lee, do you have any questions for Ms. Zagar?
No questions, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Zagar, thank you for your testimony. I do have a few questions for Ms. Massoud. Just bear with me. Let me pull up my notes here. So regarding your title, I understand that you're arguing that you were just an employee, and I understand the Secretary of State filings and your position with respect to that. But I wanted to ask regarding the tobacco retailers information and the LA tax documents that were filed with your name identifying you as president, in that that can be seen on pages 279 through 286 of the hearing exhibit binder. It shows that you were the president of the corporation during those times. Do you have any sort of explanation for that?
I have not have any idea. It might be sometimes Frank was out of the country. He was not there personally, and he would ask me to do something. But I don't remember that specific things that you're asking me regarding the secretary. But it could have happened. Yeah, it might happen that I did because he was not present at the time.
Okay, but if you were just an employee, why would they be identified? Why would they state that you were the president when they were filed if you did it?
I have no idea, sir.
Okay. And then we have, if you look at pages 268 and 269 of the exhibit binder, there were two phone conversations on March 25th, 2015 and March 26th, 2015. And they're recorded, they're documented by the auditor, conversations with you, discussing making an appointment to come in to a CDTFA office, or at the time it would have been Board of Equalization office, and make payments, specifically to bring in a payment in person as well as a voided check for a future payment. And then on the 25th and then on the 26th, confirming that whether you should go in to make a payment. Do you have any sort of explanation? Did you have to ask Mr. Javanshir for permission to make those appointments?
Yes, of course. I couldn't do anything, sir, without his permission. He was very strict and kind of rude as well. So I didn't want to get involved too much. And if he would tell me or give me the money or tell me that you should do it, yes. But if he didn't, I don't do anything. I didn't do
Okay.
anything.
And then there's some sort of conflicting information in the briefing, and I just want to be clear. Mr. Javanshir was your former spouse, is that correct?
No, we were dating back then,
You were dating, okay.
30
And
years ago.
30 years ago, so that would have
Yes.
been the 90s.
Yes.
Okay. And then so by the time that we're talking about for this appeal, you were just an employee.
Yes, because we were separated on our way, and I was married with my husband, so we both were there.
Okay. And then I have that you left the company, if you look at page 269, or sorry, 270, I want to say, of the exhibit binder, a follow-up conversation that occurred in June 2019, that you left the company 10 months prior. So that would have been August 2018. Is that correct?
I think exactly was on Halloween, before Halloween. Yeah, something
Okay.
around that. I don't exactly remember, but I remember it was toward that week.
Okay, great. Thank you. I don't have any further questions at this time. Judge Kim, Judge Lee, do you have any further questions?
I just had one more question. So Judge Long mentioned those conversations or those communications between you and CDTFA. At that time, why didn't you say anything about having to check with Mr. Javanshir for making any payments or dealing with any sort of payments and
Because before I do that, any arrangement or talking, I had the permission from him because they were calling at the restaurant, they were sending emails, so I had the permission from him to do that day or that time or that appointment that you're saying I made.
Okay, and also there's some notes in the record about or from your father speaking with CDTFA stating that you were responsible for running the business. Do you have any statements or explanation for that?
My father, he is almost 90 years old. He does not hear very well. He does not see very well. And he never did that. And I don't recall that. And, I don't know who used him to say something like that. But he told me he never did such a thing. So I don't know. That's a lie.
Okay, and just to clarify, do you remember when your father stepped away from the business and you started to help with it?
My father left there about 2002 or 2003.
Okay, and in between the time that he left and before the record shows that Mr. Javanshire became an officer, were you the one who was running the business?
I was not at the time he got it, but after a year or so, he asked me to join him to help him with the restaurant. So I accepted, but not right away. It was not just a right away thing. I was working back then.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I have one quick question for Ms. Massoud.
Yes.
Turning to Exhibit 1, page 2, that's a Secretary of State information page. Did you submit that? I see your name at the bottom.
No, I don't remember. I don't think so. I don't know. Which one are you talking about? Can you repeat it?
Yes, Exhibit 1, page 2.
Okay, what was the question?
Were you the one who submitted that statement of information?
I don't remember that. Maybe Mr. Zandi know better.
May I make a comment? I'm not sure if Monica Massoud has these exhibits in front of her. There's hundreds of pages. Do we have
I
an
don't have.
opportunity to live stream to show that? So she can accurately maybe try to recall from her
Mr.
recollection.
Zandi, we generally don't show exhibits on the screen because it is being streamed to YouTube. However, if she doesn't have those documents in front of her, you do have the opportunity to email them to her so that she can open them up if you'd like to do it that way. If you'd like some time to do that, we can certainly give you some time off the record here to
Yes,
send it
please.
to
I
her, make
want
sure
to
she has it.
Mr. Zandi email it for me. So if you give me a time to look at my email, that would help a lot.
Okay. So we'll take a 5-minute break.
Sure.
And we'll be back on the record here at 10:42. So for now, the record is closed. Please turn off your cameras and mute your microphones, and we will resume at 10:42. Are we ready to resume?
Yes, Your Honor. I believe Ms. Massoud has that exhibit. The larger exhibit file is also, I think she's downloading it, but she has all the appellant's exhibits now in front of her.
Okay, thank you. Then let's reopen the record. It's 10:44.
Okay.
Ms. Massoud, now that you've had a chance to review the appellant's exhibits, which include the Secretary of State Statement of Information, did you want to
Yes, I saw
revise your
that.
answer?
I saw that. I don't remember exactly what was it or what it was. Frank was giving me the permission to go take care of that. I don't remember what it was exactly. So when I went there, they asked me, "What's your name, first name and last name?" They didn't ask me, "Am I a secretary or am anybody?" So I didn't write anything except my name and my last name. To and I don't know, it was a renewal or I don't know, remember what was it, and I think that's the one I told you that Frank was not there, so I had to get the permission. I told you earlier. So that's the best I can remember.
Thank you.
Okay.
And what does the title SEC mean to you?
I have no, I don't know. What is it?
But you, I think you said it. Were you the one who submitted this statement of information?
Yes, the letter that you're talking about that my name was on it.
Yes.
Yes, what do you want me to say?
I'm just confirming that you were the one who submitted this statement of
Yes.
information.
Yes, I
Okay.
did that. Yes.
Thank you. No further questions.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, don't have any further questions. I don't have any further questions for the witnesses. If CDTFA doesn't have any further questions for the witnesses, I'd like to excuse Ms. Zargar or Mr. Balurian. CDTFA, did you have any objections to that?
We do not.
Okay. Mr. Balurian and Ms. Zargar, thank you very much for your testimony, and I hope you have a great rest of your week. You may exit the hearing if you'd like.
Thank you,
Thank
Your
you
Honor.
so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Ms. Massoud, you stay. You stay.
I am here. I just said bye
Okay.
to them.
Okay, good. All right. Well then, let's move forward with the oral hearing. CDTFA, you requested 30 minutes to make your presentation, and you may begin when ready.
Thank you. The primary issue in this appeal is whether appellant is personally liable for the unpaid sales and use tax liabilities of Shah Abbas Corporation, doing business as Shah Abbas Restaurant, for the period of October 1st, 2014 through August 12th, 2019. The department maintains its position that appellant is liable as a responsible person pursuant to Revenue and Taxation Code Section 6829 for the unpaid liabilities of Shah Abbas for the liability period. As you're aware, 4 elements must be met to impose personal liability under Section 6829. 1. The corporation must be terminated. 2. The corporation must have collected sales tax reimbursement on its retail sales of tangible personal property, or TPP. 3. The person must have been responsible for the payment of sales and use tax. And 4. The person's failure to file must have been willful. All 4 elements are in dispute. As to the first element, whether the corporation was terminated, the department called the bookkeeper for Shah Abbas, Mr. Jose Ordonez, on August 30th, 2019, who informed the department that the business had closed on August 12th, 2019. Exhibit A, page 16. The department verified via the California Secretary of State website that the business's status was suspended. Exhibit A, page 17. Therefore, the department closed Shah Abbas's seller's permit effective August 12th, 2019. Appellant has contended that the restaurant never terminated but continued to operate under a different name, Chel Satoon Grill, while appellant insists that Chel Satoon operates under the same business model and location as Shah Abbas. The fact that the department closed Shah Abbas's seller's permit in effect terminated the business. Chel Satoon does operate at the same location, but under a different permit number. Furthermore, while appellant insists that Chel Satoon continued operating after the liability period under the direction of Mr. Javanshire, the business's January 2018 Statement of Information shows appellant as the sole officer. This is corroborated by her statement to the department on February 7th, 2018, in which appellant told the department that Mr. Javanshire was no longer an officer. Exhibit A, page 40. Based on this evidence, the first element is satisfied. As to the second element, personal liability can be imposed only to the extent the corporation collected sales tax reimbursement on its sales of TPP in this state, but failed to remit the tax to the department when due. Revenue and Taxation Code Section 6829C and Regulation 1702.5A. The following evidence shows that Shah Abbas collected sales tax reimbursement on its sales of TBP. The responsible person questionnaire, dated December 17th, 2021, completed by appellant's father and the original owner and president of Shah Abbas, Ahmad Massoud, states that tax was included in the business's sales. Exhibit A, pages 44 to 45. The business operations questionnaire, dated August 12th, 2021, completed by Shah Abbas's accountant, Mr. Ordonez, states that tax was included in the business's sales. Exhibit A, page 42. An affidavit of Mr. David Badad, a Shah Abbas customer, dated August 2nd, 2021, indicated that he was charged sales tax reimbursement. Exhibit A, page 44. And a Yelp review from a customer dated May 7th, 2014, stated that they were charged an amount plus tax for their food purchases. Exhibit A, page 40. Also, during the liability period, Shah Abbas was reporting taxable sales and making sporadic payments. See Exhibits D and N. Based on this evidence, the second element is satisfied. As to the third element, whether appellant was a responsible person, the evidence shows that prior to and throughout the liability period, appellant was an officer of Shah Abbas Corporation who had control, supervision of, and the responsibility for the filing of returns or the payment of tax, and had the duty to act for the corporation in complying with the sales and use tax law. See Section 6829B and Regulation 1702.5B1. Appellant is identified as Shah Abbas's secretary on its Secretary of State filing dated January 5th, 2018, and signed Shah Abbas's City of Los Angeles 2019 business license records as president and manager. Exhibit A, pages 21 and 39. The evidence shows appellant engaged in multiple discussions with the department regarding the corporation's tax liabilities before and during the liability period, including making multiple visits to a department field office to handle sales and use tax matters, deliver payment, and hand file a sales and use tax return. Exhibit L at pages 3 to 6, 8 to 9, and Exhibit N. The evidence also contains summaries of conversations between appellant and the department regarding Shah Abbas's outstanding tax liabilities, including on September 21st, 2009, in which appellant stated that she was responsible for the corporation, Exhibit L, page 4. On April 22nd, 2010, in which appellant stated that she handles taxes for her dad and discussed the current account balance, Exhibit L, page 7. On February 27th and March 3rd, 2015, in which appellant contacted the department to discuss tax matters, Exhibit L, pages 11 to 12. On March 24th, 2015, in which appellant identified herself as the only corporate officer and a person with check signing authority and discussed the filing of sales and use tax returns and the payment of tax, Exhibit L, page 13. On March 26th, 2015, in which the department requested appellant submit documentation to confirm her status as a corporate officer, as that was how she identified herself in conversations, Exhibit L, page 13. On April 2nd, 2015, in which appellant discussed the payment of outstanding liabilities, Exhibit L, page 15. On February 7th, 2018, in which appellant spoke to the department on behalf of Shah Abbas during the audit and told the department that Farshad Frank Javanshire, who was listed on the business's Secretary of State filings, was no longer an officer, and appellant managed and helped run the restaurant. Exhibit A, page 40. These statements are supported by other documented conversations. According to department records, appellant's father, Ahmad Massoud, originally owned the business and was listed as president on the seller's permit application. Exhibit A, page 19, and Exhibit M. Several times throughout the liability period, Mr. Massoud told the department that appellant was responsible for business operations, including on February 25th, 2015, when Mr. Massoud stated he had not run the business in 5 years and instead it was run by appellant, his daughter, Exhibit L, page 10. On August 2nd, 2016, when Mr. Massoud told the department that it was appellant's job to follow up on the filing of the business's sales and use tax returns, Exhibit L, page 16. On June 12, 2019, when he directed the department to speak to appellant regarding sales and use tax matters. Exhibit L, page 21. Appellant was also identified by several employees as the person who managed Shah Abbas's business affairs, including on June 6, 2019, when she was identified as the person who managed the business, Exhibit L, page 20, on August 1st, 2019, in which she was identified as the owner and manager, Exhibit L, page 23, and on August 16th, 2021, in which appellant was named as one of the two parties who handled the business's financial matters and sales tax compliance by the bookkeeper, Mr. Ordonez, Exhibit A, page 22. Thus, the evidence shows appellant was charged with the responsibility for the restaurant's sales and use tax matters and had a duty to act for the corporation in complying with tax laws. Appellant has argued that Mr. Javanshir was actually in charge of the business. However, regardless of Mr. Javanshir's involvement, the evidence shows that appellant was a responsible person during the liability period. Furthermore, according to appellant, Mr. Javanshir was removed as a corporate officer during the period, and appellant continued to remain involved in the corporation's sales and use tax matters. Therefore, the third element is also satisfied. As to the fourth element of personal liability, the evidence shows that appellant's failure to pay Shah Abbas's tax liabilities was willful. Failure to pay is willful if the person had knowledge that the taxes were due and not being paid, had the authority and ability to pay the taxes but failed to do so. Failure to pay may be willful even without bad purpose or motivation. Regulation 1702.5b2. As to appellant's authority, appellant had the authority to direct the financial affairs of the corporation, including the authority to pay taxes. Appellant was one of two active corporate officers in a small, closely held corporation. As already established, appellant was a person responsible for Shah Abbas's sales and use tax matters, and there is no documentary evidence indicating her authority was limited. The evidence shows that prior to and during the liability period at issue, appellant contacted and/or communicated with the department on at least 13 documented occasions, 5 of which were during the liability period, regarding Shah Abbas's sales and use tax matters, including her physical delivery of payments for outstanding liabilities. Exhibit L, pages 1 through 8 and 1 through 14. During many of these conversations, appellant either directly claimed to have authority over Shah Abbas's financial matters or discussed the liabilities in a way that demonstrated she had authority to direct payments. Never did appellant state or even indicate she had to get permission to pay. For example, appellant told the department she was responsible for the corporation and attempted to set up a payment plan for Shah Abbas's outstanding liabilities. Exhibit L, page 4. On another occasion, appellant said she handled taxes for her dad and discussed the current account balance. Exhibit L, page 7. On March 24, 2015, appellant informed the department that she was the only corporate officer. Exhibit L, page 13. On March 26, 2015, appellant told the department she had check signing authority for Shah Abbas, and there are 627 checks in the record with her signature dating from January 10, 2016 through August 10, 2019. Exhibit L, page 14, and Exhibit O. Appellant claims that she needed permission for Mr. Javanshir to sign the checks. However, there is no documentary evidence confirming this claim. For example, appellant states that she would need to ask for permission, referencing using texts or emails to do so. However, appellant has not presented any copies of such to support her claims. Furthermore, other evidence, such as appellant's actions and representations to the department in documented conversations, contradict those statements. Thus, on and before the taxes became due, the evidence shows appellant had the authority to pay the taxes or cause them to be paid. As for knowledge, here Shah Abbas's tax liabilities were based on 1. Department assessed taxes resulting from an audit for the period of October 1st, 2014 through September 30th, 2017, Exhibit C. 2. Self-assessed taxes from non-remittance returns for the period of October 1st, 2017 through March 31st, 2019, Exhibit D. And 3. The department's compliance assessment for part of third quarter 19. July 1st, 2019 through August 12th, 2019. Exhibit F. We will take each of these in turn. As for the audit liabilities spanning fourth quarter 2014 to third quarter 2017, as determined in the notices of determination dated October 2nd and 4th, 2018, those became final on November 2nd and 3rd, 2018. Exhibit C. During this liability period, appellant participated in the business's sales and use tax matters as cataloged in discussions between appellant and department staff in 2015 on March 3rd, 24th, 26th, and April 2nd. Exhibit L, pages 12 to 14. For example, during the April 2nd, 2015 phone call, appellant asked to confirm whether Shaw Boss's tax liabilities had been paid and was informed that there were continuing liabilities. Exhibit L, page 15. Appellant also engaged in audit discussions with the department on February 7th, 2018, which is evidence that appellant was involved in sales and use tax matters through the end of the audit. And appellant's involvement in the audit is evidence that she had actual knowledge of Shaw Boss's underreporting during the audit period. Exhibit A, pages 39 to 40. The liabilities for the non-remittance returns spanning fourth quarter 2017 to first quarter 2019 became due on the dates that the returns were due, on or before the last day of the month following each quarterly period. Those dates were January 31st, 2018 for fourth quarter 2017, April 30th, 2018 for first quarter 2018, July 31st, 2018 for second quarter 2018, October 31st, 2018 for third quarter 2018, January 31st, 2019 for fourth quarter 2018, and April 30th, 2019 for first quarter 2019. Shaw Boss late filed non-remittance returns on April 17th, 2018 for fourth quarter 2017, and on July 2nd, 2019 for first quarter 2018 through first quarter 2019. The evidence shows appellant was aware of the filing deadlines for sales and use tax returns, as she was directly informed of them by the department staff prior to this period in a conversation on April 22nd, 2010. Exhibit L, page 7. During the liability period, the department left appellant numerous messages, both on her voicemail and with employees for her attention, regarding the business's account balance and delinquent returns, including on November 3rd, 2017, and on June 6th, 12th, 17th, 2019, and August 1st, 2019. Exhibit L, pages 17 and 20 to 23. The department also emailed appellant on March 20th, 2018 and July 10th, 2018, informing her of outstanding balances and delinquent returns. Exhibit L, pages 18 to 19. Given appellant's authority to pay the sales tax liabilities, the evidence shows that appellant was aware that the returns were due and that the business finally filed them without remittance. Thus, the evidence supports a finding that appellant had knowledge of the tax liabilities were due but not being paid as of the dates the returns became due. Finally, for the partial third quarter 2019 period of July 1st, 2019 through August 12th, 2019, Shaw Boss did not file a closeout sales and use tax return or pay any taxes. As a result, the department estimated the business's tax liability for this period and issued a notice of determination to Shaw Boss dated February 24th, 2021. Exhibit F. While the department was not in documented contact with appellant during these 6 weeks, appellant had been involved in Shaw Boss's sales and use tax matters, and there is no evidence demonstrating that she ceased involvement. No documentary evidence demonstrating she ceased involvement. The evidence includes discussions occurring in the month directly before this period, June 2019, with appellant's father, Mr. Massoud, and Shaw Boss employees who stated appellant was the owner of the business and the contact person for sales and use tax matters. Exhibit L, pages 20 to 23. Furthermore, appellant continued signing checks from the business account during this period, totaling around $4,000. Exhibit O, pages 615 to 628. This evidence supports a finding that appellant continued to be involved in Shaw Boss's sales and use tax matters during this period. Thus, the evidence shows appellant had actual knowledge that taxes were due and not being paid. As to the ability to pay the taxes, the evidence shows that Shah Abbas had funds available to pay the taxes throughout the liability period. As we have already noted, Shah Abbas charged and collected sales tax reimbursement on its sales as a standard business practice during the liability period. Exhibit A, pages 10, 21, and 40 to 45. Therefore, Shah Abbas had those funds available to pay the tax liability, but instead used those funds for other purposes. In addition to the collected sales tax reimbursement, the evidence shows Shah Abbas had other available funds. In fourth quarter 2014 alone, Shah Abbas reported $199,840 in cost of goods sold and $32,773 in utilities on its state income tax return. Exhibit A, pages 47 to 49. Shah Abbas's third-party networks reported over $299,000 in payments received by Shah Abbas throughout the liability period via a Form 1099-K, Exhibit A, page 48. In addition, Shah Abbas had bank deposits totaling over $1.4 million throughout the liability period, Exhibit A, pages 50 to 51, and the checks signed by appellant between 2016 to 2019 totaled over $181,000, Exhibit O. Thus, the evidence shows that there were available funds such that appellant had the ability to pay Shah Abbas's tax liabilities, but the funds were used to pay other creditors instead. In sum, Shah Abbas collected tax reimbursement throughout the liability period, and the business was terminated. Appellant was a person responsible for Shah Abbas's sales and use tax obligations, and appellant's failure to pay was willful, meaning appellant had actual knowledge that the taxes were due and not being paid, and had the authority and ability to pay the taxes, but failed to do so. Based on all the evidence provided, the department has met its burden of proving all elements for imposing personal liability on appellant. For these reasons, we request that the appeal be denied. Thank you.
Thank you. Judge Kim, do you have any questions for CDTFA?
No, I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Judge Lee, do you have any questions for CDTFA?
No questions. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, then I believe we're ready to move forward to appellant's closing statement. Mr. Zandi, you requested 15 minutes and you may begin when ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. May we have a quick 2-minute break?
Yes, we will go off the record and we will come back at 11:11. Are we ready?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And we're reopening the record, and you have 15 minutes and you may begin when ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to first address one of the statements that the CDTFA made. They said the statement of information shows Monica Massoud as the sole officer. Referencing again, Exhibit 1, as we stated in our opening statement as well, and this is clearly shown from Exhibit 1, the statement of information actually shows the exact opposite of that she is not an officer. As we stated before, there is the State of California Secretary of State. They have the statement of information form. There's a checkbox that can be checked that says no change statement. This no change statement says if there have been any changes to the information contained in the last statement of information filed with the California Secretary of State, or no statement of information has been previously filed, this form must be completed in its entirety. The form was not completed because there was a prior form. And this checkbox says if there has been no change in any of the information contained in the last statement of information filed with the California Secretary of State, check the box and proceed to number 17. That box is checked, signifying that there's no change. That previous statement of information shows that the only corporate officer of this entity holding the titles of Chief Executive Officer, Secretary, and Chief Financial Officer was Farshad Javanshir, aka Frank Javanshir. There is nothing in the statement of information that showed Monica Massoud as a corporate officer, despite the CDTFA saying it showed her as the only. It shows her quite the opposite, that she is not a corporate officer. That's the first point that we wanted to discuss. Furthermore, some of these, in reference to some of the exhibits, conversations that are discussed in Exhibit L, referencing some of these notes. Some of these notes, again, none of these witnesses have been called in to testify. They may be admissible, but the weight is we have witnesses here that are testifying about control, about whether or not Monica Massoud had the ability to make payments. And so we still ask the question, where is the evidence that Monica Massoud could independently decide, I am paying CDTFA today rather than payroll, rent, vendors, or entertainers? We have shown, supported by witness testimony, supported by the evidence as well, that Monica Massoud does not have control to actually make the decision to make a payment. She had to ask Frank Javanshir for permission to make every single payment. Some of these statements in Exhibit L, some of them seem to be even before the liability period, 2009, 2009. These are all, I'm just going through Exhibit L here. Multiple hearsay statements between the dad, all are falling before the liability period. Some forms were brought up where Monica Massoud is. They're not from the California Secretary of State. The statement of information which showed that she is not an officer. Some forms, it seems to list her as a president. However, as she testified, she did everything under the control and direction of Frank Javanshir. When Frank Javanshir was not available, he directed Monica Massoud to fill out forms that were necessary. None of these forms that were mentioned, none of these pieces of evidence that were discussed actually show that Monica Massoud had control and independent authority to make a payment. The Bank of America document. There's a Bank of America document in Exhibit O from the department's exhibits. The last page of Exhibit O shows Farshad Javanshir. He is president. Monica Massoud is just signer. That, again, does not show that Monica Massoud had independent authority without Frank Javanshir's permission to make a payment. Some of these statements on these notes that the department mentioned that they discussed, they mentioned discussions. Again, we saw no attempt to, or perhaps there was an attempt. We don't understand why none of these people are here to testify. Jose Ordenes, we were able to call him ourselves and speak with him on the phone. He has a bookkeeping office in the Valley in Los Angeles. Monica Massoud's father, Frank Javanshir, the auditors that work for the CDTFA, there are multiple people that we believe if the CDTFA has these statements that are written and they're unsworn to, they could have been here today to swear in as we did and testify to them. And so that Monica Massoud could have the proper due process as well to cross-examine them. One of these statements that was brought up from 2010, which is the year before the liability period, that the father said, or somebody said, handles taxes for her dad. Somebody stated that Monica handles taxes for her dad. Well, what does that mean, handles taxes for her dad? Handles taxes is consistent with someone performing a administrative function. It could mean filing them. It could mean just coordinating with the owner about them. It still does not prove that Monica Massoud had the independent authority to make these payments, to remit these payments. We'd like to just go through some of the other points. Mr. Ordonez was referred to. We were not able to communicate with them ourselves. This person is not here to testify. I'd like to cross-reference a case. It's not binding, but I believe it could be some persuasive authority. The appeal of Drury, 2020-OTA-087. The
Mr.
CDTFA.
Zandy, I'm
Yes.
sorry to interrupt, but can you spell the name of the appeal for me so that we get it on the transcript?
Yes. Drury is Drori.
Thank you.
So in this case, the OTA was dealing with the same 6829 responsible person statute. And the OTA expressly described that unsworn statements obtained by the CDTFA from corporate personnel were hearsay. And they noted while they could be admitted that they lack cooperation and they can be contradicted by more persuasive evidence. In that case, the OTA gave these pieces of evidence less weight. We've had testimony now from multiple people that have worked at this restaurant, from Monica Massoud herself, that shows that Monica Massoud did not have this authority to make payments, that she had to ask Frank Javanshire for permission on every single payment that she made, that she was under the direction of this person. Mr. Ordonez, why is he not here present today? We were not able to communicate with him. From our understanding, he had a language gap. So these notes that were taken, there is nothing that describes what was the communication in Spanish, was the communication in English, exactly what question was asked. Was it properly explained to Mr. Ordonez what a responsible person means? Did Monica Massoud have the independent authority to pay the CDTFA taxes? There is no evidence from that from the CDTFA. We'd like to mention as well regarding the CDTFA's case, it seems like there's a stash of evidence and the CDTFA is attempting to just draw their own inferences from this. But the CDTFA Council can try to say these checks establish control, but the CDTFA Council did not work at Shah Abbas. They did not observe the approval process. They did not have firsthand knowledge that Monica could pay creditors without Frank's permission. And yet again, there is no testimony from anyone that contradicts, there's no sworn testimony from anyone that contradicts that Monica can make any payments without getting the permission of Frank. So in closing, I'd like to just also again stress, where is the evidence that Monica could independently decide that she could make any of these payments? Everything that we've shown from our side shows that Monica was not able to make these payments. We've shown these exhibits, the CDTFA themselves saying that it shows she's the sole corporate officer. It actually shows the exact opposite, that she was not a corporate officer. The statement of information says that from 2008. And again, by the 2018 no change statement that was signed and filed. Looking at Exhibit 4, as far as control goes, Frank Javanshire pretty much just changed the label of this restaurant, changed the name, kept the same place, kept the same lease. If Monica Massoud had any control to make payments, why didn't she pay herself? Why was she working at this restaurant? She could have easily just paid herself. If she had the control, why couldn't she at least pay her own wages? If she had control over the restaurant, how come she did not have a say in this restaurant, changing the label, just changing the name, operating in the same location, potentially with the same tables, the same furniture, and where was Monica's participation in that subsequent restaurant? This again shows furthermore that Monica did not have any financial control independently of Frank Javanshire. Lastly, we'd like to also reference Exhibit 5. It's our declaration of the declaration of myself. The CDTFA, with their power and authority, with all these issues that we raised, with the amount that is at stake here, with the possibility that a innocent woman who does not have the financial means is potentially going to be left with the sales tax that is not her, that was never her responsibility, that she never had the ability to pay, that she was under the control of this owner that was directing her what to do, how to operate the business and what to pay, especially that with all these concerns and considering the large liability amount, there was no attempt to visit this restaurant. I myself had the ability to simply go. It's in the center of Los Angeles. It's not in a remote area. I went there myself, even before I met Monica Massoud, and I saw Frank Javanshire was there. We had the ability to do a re-audit, to ask additional questions from Frank, to ask additional questions, perhaps from her father, from Jose Ordonez. None of these resources of the CDTFA, which is, I believe, there's a high level of resources that the CDTFA has. None of this was used to conduct a re-audit. We don't have any of these witnesses appearing here today. And we have tried our best to show with all the evidence available that Monica Massoud did not have the power to make these payments. And we have an unfortunate situation of this person who abused this power, kept this restaurant running, changed the name, started a new corporation, and we're not even aware of what his negotiations with the CDTFA were, but we believe now this person is unfairly hoisting this liability on Monica Massoud, something that she had no power at all ever to make payments for without getting the permission of this person, Frank Javanshire. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we conclude, I just want to, I do have one final question for CDTFA regarding the Secretary of State form. Is there any dispute that Mr. Javanshire is listed as the only corporate officer on those documents?
I'm actually glad that Mr. Zondi brought that up. That was a misstatement on our part. So it does appear that she's listed. We believe SEC would be secretary. So there is some dispute as to whether she was a secretary of the corporation, given that she signed it as a secretary. Even though we do note that it says there was no change. So that is something that is confusing. However, we also coupled that with, or not coupled, but we would like to point out that there was a conversation with appellant and the department on February 7th, 2018, in which she told the department that Mr. Javanshire was no longer with the company. That's Exhibit A, page 40. So it's unclear.
Okay, thank you.
May
Mr.
I?
Zandi, yes, go ahead.
Just so we could pull up that same exhibit, is that Exhibit A, page 40 of Exhibit A?
Correct.
Exhibit A, page 40, I see a Yelp review. Or page 40 of the exhibit. Because I wanted to actually specifically address that point as well.
It looks like page
Let me
39.
find the PDF. Oh,
Page 39, Exhibit A. Is that the one you're referring to?
The March 7th, 2018 discussion towards the bottom of the page there.
I'm on page 39 of March. I'm sorry.
February 7th, 2018. It's page 56 of the exhibit binder.
Received call from Monica Massoud, who stated her direct number is this the comment that's being referred to?
sorry, I'm looking for the PDF page number. I just want to make sure I'm getting it correct. That is correct. It's PDF, page 56, but Exhibit A, page 39.
56, thank you.
It says about in the middle, she stated that Mr. Javanshir is no longer an officer.
It also says she manages and helps run the restaurant. A statement of information was filed just the month before in 2018 that shows that Frank Javanshir was the only officer. These are, again, hearsay statements. We have live witness testimony from Monica Massoud. Frank Javanshir, he had the ability to open a new restaurant. It takes a lot of money to open a new restaurant. Well, actually, in his case, maybe not so much because he just swapped the name. He probably already had everything he needed. But it takes some administrative effort. It takes getting permits and licenses. Frank Javanshir, I don't see any evidence here that shows an updated statement of information from Frank Javanshir that takes him off the authority of being listed as a corporate officer. The only thing that's on file from the California Secretary on State is Frank Javanshir, sole corporate officer, a no change statement that again confirms that he was the sole corporate officer. Nothing contradicts that. This is a hearsay statement. We don't know what the exact discussion was. We don't know if Monica had a misunderstanding exactly what she said. We have her here to testify today.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Zandi, does that conclude your presentation?
Yes, it does.
Thank you. All right, then, just one last check-in with my co-panelists. Judge Kim, do you have any questions before we conclude?
No, I don't have any more questions. Thank you.
Thank you. And Judge Lee, do you have any questions before we conclude?
No questions. Thank you to both parties.
All right, thank you. Ms. Massoud, thank you for your testimony today. I know that these can be stressful situations. I appreciate you coming in. We are ready to conclude today's hearing. The record is closed. The panel will meet and decide this appeal, and an opinion will be issued within 100 days. Today's oral hearing is concluded, and we will be resuming at 1 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Your Honor, and
Thank you.
thank you to the CDTFA for their time. Thank you.